Got a game from Interface Analyst. And Porn Cop, yes, Porn Cop. I'm not going to redo it. I'm not going to redo the intro. I'm not hitting start on this again. It is Popcorn Pops, and he was on a different replay on this channel. But maybe we need some Porn Cop Pops. Actually, that name works very well, and not in the best way. Oh god, that's great. Okay, I'm not redoing this video. Fuck it, it's staying in there. So what do we have here for Tzeentch of Interface Analyst? A front line of buffed up Forsaken, 2 Chaos Warriors with Halberds, double Chaos Knight of Tzeentch. Did one have Lances? No, they're both regular. Okay, I'm just being stupid. Double Screamers, a Spawn, and Chaos Furies. We have a Herald of Tzeentch as the Lord with Blue Fire, Glean Magic, and the Infernal Gateway. On this side, we see a Naster Necromancer. Yes, I'm having a day. A Master Necromancer with Gaze of Nagash, Raise Dead, Invocation Hack. Do not often see Master Necromancers. We have some Fellbats who are quickly dying to Tzeentch's forces, Blood Knights, Vargheists, a front line of zombies backed up by Graveguard and Skeletons. No Corpse Cart for this build. The Tzeentch forces are in trouble on these flanks. Vampire counts actually have some pretty good mobility tools between Vargheists and Blood Knights, but the main problem is most factions just blob up and the Vampire counts can't do much. But if you decide to take a wide fight against them, they can do a lot, as we see this flank engagement is going fantastically for them. Getting really good damage on those Chaos Knights. Almost have gotten rid of them. The Screamers are quick to follow, all at the price of 1 Fellbat. On the other side, a Fellbat was sacrificed for no reason. Don't love that, and now Blood Knights are taking a 3v1 without the Vargheists in position to get that rear charge. Looks like they're starting to move over now, so a little bit of a whoopsie on that north side fight, but on the south side fight over here, it's going much better for the counts. I am surprised how long those Chaos Knights of Tzeentch lasted while that low, as Chaos Warriors with Halberds walk all the way over here and start supporting. Now it's going to get really bad for the counts quite quickly, so they'll need to back off those Vargheists most likely. Tzeentch takes the point with their Forsaken. Master Necromancer throws down the Magical Animus. A little bit of leadership on the Undead. That really isn't that good of a thing, to be honest. Just stop some mild crumbling in zombies, but even then, not really that helpful. The Vargheists overstay their welcome, stay in those Chaos Warriors with Halberds, take a lot of damage. Looks like they're gonna die. As the Forsaken have already cleaved through some zombies, they're now under the much tougher Graveguard or zombies. And in the distance, these Blood Knights still holding. I wonder if they've gotten an Invocation a heck or two. They're doing quite well in this mixed cav engagement. Too many forces from Tzeentch on the same side. You can see all of their models over here, so some of them are just waiting their turn to go fight, while none of them are flanking. It's not optimal. In the distance, Blood Knights getting chased around by Screamers, and Chaos Knights backed up by Halberds still. And that leaves the Forsaken front line to do most of the work. Graveguard getting eaten alive by Spawn. That Armor Sundering doing a little bit for them. Where's that blue fire going? It is going towards the Master Necromancer, who lands in the Tzeentch mobility forces to cause some serious friendly fire and help them out on breaking these guys. One of the Chaos Knights is routing. So that means both the Chaos Knights are extremely tattered if they're even going to participate in this game at all. That is an Infernal Gateway coming down for the Herald of Tzeentch. Do the Blood Knights notice it and dodge? They don't notice it in time, and yeah, they're not going to dodge. They're just going to eat the whole thing. And while the Infernal Gateway does do friendly fire onto the Chaos Furies and even the Screamers, still that is a pretty good cast, doing a lot of damage to those very expensive Blood Knights. But these are the Vampire counts we're talking about. They can heal those guys up over time if they want to. Far side, more Blood Knights taking a fight against the Screamers and the Chaos Knights of Tzeentch. As long as they stay away from those Halberds, they will win that fight. So it looks like they drew the Tzeentch forces far enough away that they could turn around and take the fight without immediately being on top of the Halberds. The Screamer's going to fade away over there. So it looks like the Count's going to end up with the mobility advantage. And honestly, the Count frontline is doing okay, too. It took a lot of damage. The Forsaken are trading quite well. But there was a lot more Counts to churn through. Skeletons, zombies, and Graveguard. Nice rear charge and wraparound from the Blood Knights. Vargheists also going to join in, as the Herald of Tzeentch might find himself in a bad situation. Chaos Spawn are unbreakable, but they're not unkillable. Quickly losing HP as the Forsaken are going to start to rout nearby. One is sticking around with 2 leadership. Otherwise, he would also abandon these guys. But the Graveguard... Not Graveguard. You aren't Graveguard Halberds. You're Chaos Warrior Halberds. Chaos Warrior Halberd flank can do some good damage to the Blood Knights and the Vargheists. Looks like the Blood Knights are trying to get out of here while the Vargheists take to the skies to get to safety. Still, those Blood Knights not feeling the best. Master Necromancer probably saves up some Winds of Magic for healing for those Blood Knights. In the distance, it looks like they did it again. Blood Knights pulling back away from the Chaos Knights of Tzeentch, drawing them away from the Halberds before taking the fight yet again and routing them off. So Tzeentch is down the bounce power by a pretty decent chunk. For their infantry, they are mostly relying on one very healthy halberd near the point and one halberd way off in no man's land. The Forsaken are about a spent force. In comes a brutal Gaze of Nagash, and just like that, that Chaos Warrior is down to half HP. Very good Gaze of Nagash. As Glean Magic's actually going to silence this Necromancer and steal some of his Winds of Magic. Blue Fire out from Tzeentch to return the favor onto the expensive Vargheists. Blood Knights are just trying to cycle charge, get that hunger healing out. They can heal whenever they're in melee combat. And that is another Infernal Gateway onto Graveguard and some of the Blood Knights. Glean Magic plus the Chromatic Tome means literally this Herald of Tzeentch has infinite Winds of Magic power reserves. That is going to be tricky if the game draws out forever, but this is Conquest. Vampire count's ticking up that point slowly. Tzeentch does need to retake it at some point. They don't want this game to time out against them. This Master Necromancer and his Vargheist bodyguards take the fight against the Herald of Tzeentch, who does fall to the ground, running to his halberds and Chaos Spawn for a bit of safety. Blood Knights coming in from the distance. We are running a little low. Ooh, nice blue fire up in the sky. I was gonna say nice, but a lot of the missiles missed and went off into Nowhereville. Anyway, the forces of the Vampire Count's running a little low on infantry to feed into these borders. And look at this, tier 3 army ability of Tzeentch just trying to kill all the Count's forces. Counts are going to try and dodge. They sacrifice their own Chaos Warrior with halberds. And is that even worth it? We're killing some zombies. Got a little bit of damage onto Graveguard, but overall killed our own halberds. I don't know if that was worth it or not, because his halberds were also pretty low, so there's that. Tier 3 army ability of Tzeentch into the tier 2 is the Doombolt's going to hit the Necromancer. Glean Magic silencing him so he can't get away, can't heal himself up or do anything crazy. And those halberds still coming. Herald of Tzeentch trying to get back into the sky. Locus of Conjuration, Chromatic Tome pop for tons of Winds of Magic power recharge. Though I don't know how much reserves he has left. Now I know he gets infinite reserves from popping the Chromatic Tome and occasionally Glean Magic, and then the Arcane Surge tier 1 army ability. I'm just saying, if he doesn't have that much left, then power recharge rate isn't going to help him, because recharging the one Wind of Magic you have left at hyperspeed doesn't actually help you that much. So we'll see. I mean, he has the item, might as well pop it. I'm not complaining. Regrouping with his halberds, as the Vargheists continue to chase him, trying to get a little bit of damage, but the Herald is down to half HP. Halberds are like literally full. For the Vampire Counts, we have a Graveguard, a Zombie, and a Skeleton Spearman. A second Graveguard, almost dead Blood Knight. Pretty healthy Blood Knight. 1/3 HP Vargheist, and then a Master Necromancer who was very healthy until he takes a nasty shot straight to the face, and he just used Invocation to heck on a Graveguard. Magical Animus gives him the leadership he needs not to crumble. I was talking shit about it earlier, but for now it is the only thing keeping this Master Necromancer alive. He has 2 seconds left of it. I don't know what he can do though, because Invocation to Heck, like I said, was used on the Graveguard. He has no healing for himself. His leadership has not stabilized, and he is going to start crumbling as the Vargheists take the fight to the Herald of Tzeentch. All of a sudden the Counts are going to lose their Lord. Zombies starting to crumble of their own volition too. And just like that, 2 units fade away of their own volition. Chromatic Tome did cause a little bit of overcast damage to our Herald of Tzeentch. Now the blinking leadership bars of the Count's going to be a problem, as the Necromancer left them behind. Blood Knights at 4 leadership, Skeleton Spears at 2, the Vargheists at 13, and those are outside melee combat. Can they get rid of these Chaos Warriors with halberds, and more importantly, can they just army loss these fools? Because army losses could be a really, really big problem for Tzeentch right now. I think if this game, if everything was unbreakable and they just fought to the death, I think these halberds can probably win. But I don't know if army loss is going to let them do that. If they start taking any significant damage, or God forbid the Herald of Tzeentch dies, then the halberds will just break due to army losses. Bolt to change onto the healthier Blood Knights. Again, just trying to do any damage you can to keep that army losses at bay. Tzeentch realizes now if they get to fight, they get to win. But if the game decides fuck you and shoves them off the battlefield, then they will most certainly lose. Graveguard have some bonus versus infantry, not a lot of armor piercing, but decently high weapon strength, some bonus versus infantry that can get poke onto the halberds. You can see the halberds health ticking down by the 10s. It is going down, but they're fighting back plenty fine. And we're going to see some crumbling here soon. The Skeleton Spearmen are already well underway for that. Blood Knight's trying to set up a rear charge. Vargeist also getting prepared. And the Counts still hold the conquest point. Herald of Tzeentch takes off just as the final wraparound comes in. The Chaos Warriors of Tzeentch quickly losing leadership. It is a risky time for them if they rout. This game is over. Big blue fire down the side does tickle a little bit of the Chaos Warriors, reducing their armor just a bit, but overall it was worth it. As the Skeleton Spearmen fade away, we still have 2 Graveguard pressing in. The Blood Knights and Vargeist are all very low. 10 leadership left on those halberds. Balance of power is dangerously low. 4 leadership, 1 leadership. The Chaos Warriors will remain for now. No, they don't. They rout! And just like that, all of a sudden Tzeentch loses. I thought the Chaos Warrior halberds could beat everything left, but their leadership failed them. And they were actually taking a lot of HP, so really good cycle charging there from the Counts. Brutal. That was a pretty good game, though. Some weird picks. Not used to seeing the Herald of Tzeentch. I like him a lot, but I don't see him very often. Screamers, Furies, Chaos Knights, Spawn did fantastically. And the new buffed Forsaken were just there to clear out chaff. Look at those kill counts. For Popcorn Pops, and that is his only name. It's the only name he's ever been called. Zombies did zombie things. Graveguard did well. Good job clearing out the Forsaken and the Chaos Warriors. Blood Knights did a great job. Well managed as well. And the Vargeist did fine. Not sold on the Master Necromancer, but it is what it is. GG. Roar. Subscribe, yes, yes.